Welcome. It's been a traumatic and terrifying night for many people across Ukraine, and for some it's been deadly. At 4 a.m. local time, the country was hit by a wave of missiles fired by Russia at several cities. Well, this is the scene in one town in central Ukraine after a building was apparently hit by a missile. Rescue operations are underway to search for survivors. This is Uman, and this was the residential building where at 4 a.m., like the strikes across the south and the central parts of Ukraine, people were killed and many were injured. Now, some missiles were shot down by the Ukrainians. Around 21 Russian missiles were shot down, and this is all after a failed winter offensive, or a very unproductive winter offensive from the Russian point of view, and ahead of an expected offensive by the Ukrainians in the east of the country. Heavy military presence there from both sides, of course. Well, earlier I spoke to our correspondent in Kyiv, Hugo Bechega, for the latest.
So we just had an update from the authorities in the city of Uman. They say at least 6 people have been killed in that city in the central part of Ukraine. This is a city where we've seen those dramatic pictures of a residential building that has partially collapsed, apparently after being hit by a missile. And in the city of Dnipro, as you say, 2 people were killed, a mother and her 3-year-old daughter. Their house was hit, and these attacks happened as people were sleeping. We heard the air raid alert here in Kyiv at around 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, here in the capital, we haven't heard reports of casualties, but the authorities are saying that 11 cruise missiles were shot down by the country's air defense, and it was the first time that Kyiv was attacked with missiles in 51 days. So a significant development here. This is obviously happening as the Ukrainians are expected to launch an offensive to try to take back territory that's now under occupation. And we just had a reaction from President Zelensky, who again accused Russia of terrorism. He said Russia attacked civilians at night. And obviously, I think perhaps the fear is that these attacks could be again the new part of the Russian strategy as it responds to the much anticipated offensive to be launched by the Ukrainians.
Yeah, Hugo, as you're talking and describing that attack in Uman, we've been watching pictures, live pictures from the scene of the debris being cleared and bodies being taken away from this site where the strike happened last night, as you say. And so is that what people in Ukraine believe, that this is part of a wider war effort now that's changed gears?
Well, it's just a little bit after 9 o'clock in the morning, so this happened overnight. So I think people are still trying to understand what exactly has taken place. I know that I think that a number of cities across the country were hit in central and southern regions. So it shows that Russia tried to target a number of different locations across the country. And again, very significant that 11 cruise missiles were launched at Kyiv. Also, the air defense systems shot down 2 drones, and I think the authorities are saying that in total 23 cruise missiles were launched by Russia, and that 21 were intercepted by the country's air defense system. So again, a significant morning here in Ukraine, especially because Kyiv again came under attack.
Hugo, much anticipation about a counter-offensive from the Ukrainian forces, perhaps in the coming weeks. But do you think an incident like this would ever change Ukraine's plans or accelerate them?
Well, I mean, to be absolutely honest, I think it doesn't make any difference. The Ukrainians have been preparing for this counteroffensive for a very long time. They have been receiving, the weapons and all the help that has been pledged and provided by Western countries. And they say they've got a plan and that they are waiting for the conditions to be in place, including weather conditions to improve, to launch this counteroffensive. It is expected that they are going to target places and different locations in the south of the country where Russian forces have been for more than a year now. And obviously nearly a fifth of this country remains under occupation. And for a very long time we've been talking about the battle for Bakhmut, where much of the war, the effort has been concentrated. But I think in the next few weeks we're going to perhaps see a lot of military activity as the Russians fortify their positions in anticipation for this counteroffensive, but also as the Ukrainians launch this operation and try to take back territory that's been invaded.
And these are live pictures from central Ukraine. As Hugo was saying, fears that these types of attacks are part of a new Russian strategy. This shot here from central Ukraine, from the city of Uman, where 4 people were killed in Russian strikes overnight. Another 2 were killed, a mother and her 3-year-old daughter, in the western city of Dnipro. This building that you're seeing here, this residential building, was hit by a missile as a wide arc of attacks took place overnight from Kyiv through central and southern regions of Ukraine.